Welcome to the Bearded Finisher Podcast, your one-stop show for all things finishing and coatings. Your host, Zach, and a variety of industry experts will guide you through the art of perfecting your finishing and business game. From seasoned pros to fresh faces, get ready for tips, tricks, and trends to elevate your knowledge and business to the next level.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Bearded Finisher Podcast. Today, we are sitting down this evening, hanging out with Matt over at MF Paint. What's going on, Matt?
How's it going, man? Not much.
I'm doing fantastic, man. How about yourself? How's the weather up where you're at?
It's so humid. The East Coast is upstate New York's just notorious in the summer times for being brutally humid. So, but not bad. I mean, things are good. So,
yeah, I mean, we were just talking a little bit offline and just got back from Vegas from being at AWFS, and it was weird because I went from Texas to there Wednesday, I think it was. Yeah, Wednesday morning. I flew out at like 7 o'clock in the morning. Dog ass early, too early for this old guy. But I get there and I'm like, what? This is not Vegas. Like, what's going on? Like, it was weirdly cool. It was probably in the 80s or something like that. It was like 9 o'clock in the morning or something. But I was like, this is weird. It was like 20 degrees warmer when I left Texas.
yeah.
You expect Vegas to be hot. I know it's a dry heat, but whatever. But by the time we left, it heated up plenty. It was pretty damn hot by Friday.
Even 80's too hot for me.
I mean, shit, with the way things going right now, it doesn't matter where you're at. It's a minimum of 80.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. It's exactly, yeah.
So where at in upstate New York are you guys?
So specifically Ballston Spa. So it's near Saratoga Springs. So the race course and stuff's up here. And it's about 30 minutes north of Albany. So right near the capital.
Okay. So you're not in the mess of all the crap downtown or anything like that. So how far is that? Do you do much work over in the city? Yeah,
we work a lot outside of the city, I guess. Troy, Winans-Kill, Skodak, we're out there like a lot. But we're all over the place, really. Wherever we feel like going, if the money's right, we'll go. So
it's kind of how this business rolls.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, let's just kind of get your history, man. Let's let the community know how you got in the paint business. Where'd you grow up at?
Yeah, so I grew up here in upstate New York. I grew up probably 20 minutes down the road here, and so my father was a general contractor as far back as I remember. So my dad does everything from additions. He builds houses. He does bathroom remodels, kitchen remodels, all phases himself. He's the hardest working man I've ever met. And he's also, he was a great person, I guess, to mentor me. But yeah, so I grew up with him. Where's dad? Where's dad? He's at work, Yeah.
That makes sense. So like when you were a kid, if he's doing that stuff, did you like go help him out, fill nail holes, or, make more nail holes when he's like, stop it?
Yeah. That was my earliest memories were like on the job site. He'd do hardscaping. He still does all that stuff. He'll do whatever helping out, doing patios, doing this, and then also filling nail holes. I remember, man, I must have been 6 or 7. That was like my earliest memories, filling nail holes. And look at me now.
My dad wasn't in, but my father-in-law grew up in this industry. So my wife grew up in it, and that's same thing, like on a Saturday or summertime, early memories of, going to the job site and dad giving you a little bit of Crawford's wood putty and sticking you in a bedroom and saying, I need every hole in the baseboard filled up.
Yeah. Yep. And like my dad, he had dump trucks and stuff and riding around the dump truck, backhoes, learning to ride equipment and stuff early age. I think I learned how to drive a backhoe like 8 or 9, just like, it's pretty country out here. So my dad had, he built a house when I was like 6 or 7, from the ground up. Him and his father and my other grandfather. Basically, the whole family's kind of in the industry. My grandfather's he's almost 80 now, but he's a heavy equipment operator. So he's like, again, one of the hardest working men I've ever met. And these guys my whole family could run a pretty good building company, I feel like, if they ever wanted to work together.
Yeah, that's probably not the best thing. And usually never is when families working together.
Exactly.
My dad was in the restaurant business. And I remember in high school, he started a restaurant and I would go work for him like weekends. And that never really ended good. I mean, working with family always ends up in fights.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So what year did you graduate high school?
2015. So so I went to high school and I was into sports. I was an endurance athlete. I was a runner. I did cross country skiing. So I don't know if you heard of the sport biathlon. So it's cross country skiing, and you ski with a rifle on your back. So then you shoot targets. So it's an Olympic sport. And
That already sounds like fun.
yeah, it was. That was my life, man. From probably the age of 9 till I was about 20, I was trying to get on the world junior team and fighting, going all over the country to race, and just training nonstop to be better. You know what I mean? And that's
pretty awesome. I mean, my oldest son, he just turned 8 and he's really into horses. So he does horse lessons, but he is just he hasn't been doing it that long, but he likes all the competitions, reining, cutting, but he just recently found out that there's a shooting sport. It's called mounted shooting. You ride around on horses and you wear Western wear. It's done with revolvers and lever actions, and you shoot targets as you go throughout this course. So now it's all he can talk about is mounted shooting. And I'm like, he likes skiing. So I'm going to be like, hey, I heard of another sport where you can just run around and shoot things.
yeah.
He's going to love that.
Yeah, it's like same as your son. I was obsessed, man. Like lived and breathed it from about your son's age on until I was about 20, and I got a pretty, I was, ranked pretty high, I guess, and doing all this stuff. I was competing in regular cross country ski racing and that kind of stuff. So I was going all over the country, national competitions, all this stuff at a young age, and I graduated in 2015 from high school, and I was working for my old man here and there. I got jobs at pizza shops, lifeguard. I did all that kind of stuff. And I went to school up in northern Maine and for biathlon, basically. There's probably on the East Coast, one of the best facilities up there. It was Fort Kent, Maine. That's where I was. So you look it up on a map, it's at the tippity top of Maine, right? I could see the Canadian border was in the town.
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, you're way up there.
Yeah. So I went up there and I got a biology degree. I have a 4-year BA in biology. That's when, life started to happen, you know what I mean? And I had a bunch of stuff go on. It was like health issues. Like I said, I was obsessed, man. Like I was doing 2-a-days from the age of probably 15 till 20, training, lifting, doing all this stuff. And I ended up having like a health issue. Basically they said I was overtrained, overtraining syndrome or whatever. And my membrane around my heart was inflamed. It's called pericarditis. And
because you were working out too much.
Yeah, it wasn't recovering. And once I got to college, it's like, I always say this to people, it's like the few freedoms that freedom of life, it's like when you're 18 and your parents put you up at college. It's like, so that was like
freedom.
Exactly. And when that happened, it was like I was running in college, I was training to be skiing and all that kind of stuff, and I was 18 years old was the best shape I was in my entire life. I ran marathons. I was running half marathons. Like I was just, tip top shape. And the once I stopped doing all that kind of stuff, I realized my mental health and everything just went. I didn't realize I never had anxiety or depression. When you're running all the time, you're just on a runner's high, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you're on that endorphin high constantly.
Yeah. So it was like a rude awakening. I didn't realize like all these, I had a great childhood. My parents are, like I said, amazing people. My dad, hardest worker I ever met and stuff. But when I was alone in college, I didn't have my vice, which was exercising essentially. And that's when life started to kind of crumble around me, started getting to drinking, like normal college stuff. And,
Yeah.
and then, so I stayed in college. I got in through college, and through that, I saw you had an athletic brew. I have an NA here, so I'm sober now. Let's say the least. I used to.
That's
so
awesome. Congrats.
Yeah. So basically, college was for me a learning experience of like finding out who I was. But I did a lot of drugs and alcohol to cope with stuff, and I graduated. I got arrested a bunch of times, did a bunch of stupid things under the influence. And it became, I came back home after college, and it was right before, it was 2019. So right before COVID. And that's when I was working for my old man. I was doing all this work, and I got arrested one more time. And then I ended up in rehab. So rehab of September 25th, 2019. And that's when I was 22. And that's when things started to kind of change in my life for sure. Yeah. So I got, started picking the pieces back up to my life. I was living with my parents, working for my old man. And that was when I started to realize, like, I've been around this stuff my whole life, right? Painting, general construction, like roofing. I mean, I've done a lot of different things, and once I got sober and like my dad was picking me up, or I was living with him, so we were driving to jobs. I started to like what I was doing, and he'd always stick me on the painting because every contractor ever, they think of it as like it'll look good regardless, and I started to like it. I started, the first time I realized I kind of had potential in it was we were doing a kitchen remodel, and there was designers involved, and they came in. It was like, who painted this? It looks awesome. And my dad said it was my son. And I was like, maybe I am, because I'm overcritical, like as I didn't realize that's kind of how painters think, but like, I was like, it could be better.
So true.
Yeah. It's like, it always could be better. And
always.
Yeah.
You always find the flaws. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
they just stick out to you so bad.
Yeah. And that's when I realized, I'm like, oh, maybe I have a knack for this, and that was probably when I was 23, 24. Like I said, I've been doing everything with my father, from demoing everything to framing, every electrical, all this kind of stuff. But the painting kind of drew me. And at the time I was like, started to save some money, and I was like, well, I should start a business. So I ended up here. We have a lot of snow. So I started a snow plowing business, and just like a DBA, and it was called MF Paint and Plow. So my initials are MF, as you can see here.
Yeah.
And I bought an old beat up diesel truck with a plow for like $5,000, and I never plowed snow before. And I got probably 14 clients, which was awesome,
That's awesome. Yeah.
So the first snowstorm we got was 37 inches.
Holy crap.
And I went out that morning and started my runs, and I realized I had no idea what I was doing. And it was the rudest awakening ever. Like, so it was 3 days nonstop. I probably slept for 3 hours over those 3 days. I accumulated more clients because everybody's trying to get out, I ended up, after that storm, tripled my clients. I had like 30 clients. And the last day I was on my way home, I get home and from the weight of the snow, the plow literally broke the frame of my truck. So I'm like, oh no.
Whoa.
Yeah. So the subframe cracked on the plow. And so I'm like, what am I going to do? And I went and bought a different truck. Luckily, I spent every last dime on that truck I had customers. I had to keep them happy,
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
that was, I did that for about 3 years, and I started picking up painting jobs on the side. Started working with another local guy that I met, older gentleman, old school painter. I will never forget this. This was probably like I said, around that time, 4 or 5 years ago. He was like, he had me do a job. He's like, you do really good work, but you're too slow. And, and I'm like, he's like, you're just too slow. Like, you're not worth, he told me I wasn't worth $20 an hour. And I was like, okay. So I never worked for him again. And,
Fair.
yeah. So I was like, I always had a sense of wanting to better myself. I was like, this could be better. Everything I thought, it always could be better. I still, to this day, it's like pursuing whatever I can do to do better. So I worked my way through working with my father, doing side jobs, doing anything, installing mailbox posts, installing kitchen cabinets. I started working for a trim carpenter in new construction. And he taught me a lot. Pat, he's a great guy. He's local. I still talk to him to this day. And then I was saving money. I was saving money. I was living at home with my parents. I met a girl who's now my wife, and we kept driving. Yeah, I kept driving by this property. We were building a big shop for my cousin down the road, and 40 by 60 shop. And I was like, having a great time framing. And we kept driving by this house. It was a beat up old house. And I'm like, hey, I'll inquire about it. It was about Christmas time 4 years ago. And I ended up getting the house for, let's say, it's like $92,000. So it was a
damn
beat up house. Yeah. So this house so it came with 1.25 acres. And I just, I was like, well, we're going to just, I'll live in it, we'll make it happen. And, my father was like, yeah, I'll help you out. It's kind of like a family thing, my family's amazing. Like I said, they came out, I looked at it. My dad came and looked at it, and we decided at a price, and I ended up going for it. And, so then we were there for 1.5 years fixing the house on and off. And, we ended up doing a full-scale renovation from everything.
Essentially just gut the house and start over.
Yeah, we gutted the house. we reframed the load-bearing walls. We poured a new concrete pad in the basement. We did a whole new second floor. We tore the whole roof off, all the walls, new trusses. The house is completely brand new, but that was like the most stressful time of my life, because we're doing this. I was working for my father. I was doing side work while we're trying to do all this stuff in the house. And then my wife got pregnant, and now the clock started ticking.
Yeah. Yeah. You just thought it was pressure until that came up.
Yeah, exactly. I'll never forget that day. We were demoing a roof. We were on another job, was stripping a roof with my dad. And I knew I got that call, and I was like, that's when my life changed. Like, I was like, okay, I need to, first off, finish this house. And then, it was a full scale, like, crazy renovation, addition. We did so much work. And I learned a lot through that process. I learned a lot of things I do not want to do as well, because we self-performed pretty much everything except the concrete work. That was the only thing we subbed out. And so in that time, coming into that fall of that year, I got a call from my cousin who works for a builder. And I ended up starting to paint for a builder. And this was a little over 2.5 years ago. I had minimal experience spraying, and I started out. The trim was already installed, the house was primed and stuff, and I got a knack at doing that, and I landed the first house. I brushed all the trim with Promar 400 semi gloss like they wanted, and it came out pretty good. I was just in that house actually a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, it doesn't look that bad. I mean, it's garbage paint, but
You know, I mean,
it was like I said, I had minimal knowledge on products and anything at the time, and I I ended up there was a couple other painters he was kind of using. He was in between guys basically, and they ended up going with me. And you know, I at the time I was still plowing snow and doing all that stuff, and we were still working on my house, and we ended up. So I ended up basically finishing that house, doing all the staining. Everything was so new to me. I sprayed doors for the first time in that house. I Home Depot sprayer, like nothing. I had no idea what I was doing, but it came out good. They gave me a chance, and
yeah.
I was
I mean, you got to learn from somewhere. So
yeah. And the homes I'm doing for this builder, or we'll get into that later, but it's they're semi-custom. They're quite. Some of them are more production homes, and some of them are more custom. So
yeah, I've got a builder in Oklahoma that I know really well, and I used to do stuff for him. He always called himself a uh, custom production home builder.
yeah, I think that's a good
It's
way.
like, yeah, they're custom, but they're all the same.
Yeah, they have like 8 or 9 floor plans, and they'll modify them. Yeah, so that's basically it. And you know, at the time, I thought the money was good. I was like, man, this is great. I don't know anything different. Pricing, I don't know. I had no idea. And so I started doing houses for him. And to this day, so I've been working for him like 2.5 years, and we've done about. I was trying to think on the way home, probably 25 to 30 over the past 2.5 years. And yeah, each house. So we started off as painters. And like I said, I have a carpentry background. So the first year we were strictly painters. And in that process, they got slow for a while. I got a bid on a big custom 7,000 square foot home. And that's when my life changed, like in the painting world, I was there for 5 months, pretty much by myself. And it was, I remember, so this is how new I am to everything. It's like emerald trim urethane enamel, right? That was like that's the best, at the time I had no idea. So I prepped this trim package out. They're big 8-foot doors, and it was humid. It was probably 80% humidity. I went to spray it, and boy, did it ran. And like, I'm like, what am I doing wrong? I was already on the wet mill gauge. I knew I knew my millage. I knew I was, I did a lot of research on my own time. Like I basically like over this past 2 years and 2 or 3 years was like, I took that obsession that I used to have for the endurance sports and stuff, and I just poured it into this, and like,
Yeah, that's good though. I mean,
everything. And anytime I had an issue, I went to YouTube, or like I wasn't active on Instagram or anything. So I went to whatever I could find, and I ended up figuring it out. It was humidity. So, like I had no idea, so got through that project. That was a huge learning experience. And I learned a lot about everything. There was probably 40 doors in the house. There was nowhere to spray them. What do we do? And like just every aspect of that job was so big for me. And, crown molding, custom this, custom that, and a lot of change orders. And the house to this day still isn't quite done because the customer, he ran out of money. So the upstairs completed. So,
oh man, that sucks. So
yeah,
let me ask you a question, a little side note that just popped into my head. Those squirrels that I tend to love to chase. Oh, I was gonna say, yeah. First side note, I'm hooked on these athletics, dude. I love them.
they're
Like
fantastic.
I don't even buy regular beer anymore. I mean, there's like the Mexican one and then this IPA. And I'm like, I mean, once like every 3 or 4 months, I have a drink if I'm out with friends or out at a nice dinner, have a glass of wine. But other than that, man,
Yeah.
don't even really miss it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But
They taste good for sure.
oh man, they're great. They're great. My wife loves the one that you're having,
The
the
Michelob?
Mick. She loves the Mick. Like her favorite are either the Mick non-alcohols or the Budweiser Zero.
Yep.
She loves the Budweiser Zero. I don't like it. I think I don't know. It just tastes weird to me.
Yeah.
But second squirrel. When up in the Northeast, do you guys prime the walls before they do trim?
Yes. So what basically the builder that I work for, we do a coat of PVA and then it's flat ceilings and walls same color. So we do everything. It's all just, pretty blah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like Oklahoma, where when I took over my father-in-law's business and then bought him out, they did a ton of new construction. It started, and then when the housing bubble popped, they kind of migrated over into the remodel world. But we still had, 5 or 6 builders that we would pick up slack for and stuff like that. But it's interesting because in Oklahoma, like sometimes paint tile is the last one in. Like when you go into the house, there is no prime the walls before the trim goes on in Oklahoma. And I've noticed that in other states. I like that. I wish they did that in Oklahoma. But same thing. They would take a PVA primer or just a quick dry primer. And most of them will do wall, ceiling, trim with the same primer. Case and base and doors, same primer. And then they'll go back flat, or they'll go back and they'll do like most of them are doing quick dry oil. And I freaking hate quick dry oil. Stuff is horrible and smells so bad. And they would in Oklahoma, all the painters cut it with kerosene.
Oh, geez.
And it was just, I mean, when they're spraying it, it's brutal. But quick dry oil, case, base, crown, doors, and then they mask it off. And then you do, depending on the builder, 1 to 2 coats of walls and ceilings and flat. And then you're out. I mean,
Yeah. I think that method is like people do it in New Jersey. I've seen like East Coast, like there are people that do it that way, but that's just the way this builder did it. And I don't hate it. And, I guess fast forward a little, it's like now we do the trim carpentry for him too. So we do kitchen installs, all the trim from doors, casing, windows, any custom trim, crown molding, anything like that. I do. And then, so we're painting too. So like we ran into the issue, and I think a lot of painters who I've talked to have the same issue. Is like there's the trim carpenters, especially in like the new construction homes, they're terrible. Like,
oh yeah, they are. And I'm sorry if there's any of them listening, but the truth is the truth. It hurts. Get over it. They are rough-end carpenters. I would say plagiarizing as trim carpenters. I mean,
yeah.
When you've got like 1/4-inch gaps in your casing and your base around the floor and around the doors, and they're just like, painters will fix it. Or you've got one piece of, molding that's got like 30 nails in it. You're like, what the...
And it's still loose.
Yeah. And then it's getting worse today because now everyone's using such green wood. That poplar that they're bringing in, that finger joint poplar that everyone's using now for paint grade. I mean, it's horrible because you put it in and it looks great. And then let's say 2 weeks, then the painter rolls in after trim carpenter's done, everything shrunk up.
Yeah.
And then it looks like monkey butt.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing is it's always a rush, and it needs to be acclimated in the house. The house needs to be temperature controlled, and that never happens. Like,
yeah,
I'd be lying to you.
Never.
We do it too. It's like so that's we'll talk about that later. But it's like The biggest thing we ran into was like, we can only make our work look good for the time being. And then as time goes on, because the install wasn't done properly, it's going to look like hell, you know? And so,
Yeah, I mean it's a never ending fight for painters, and in most cases you lose because there's someone that says that they can do it better and cheaper always.
oh yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
So,
and they end up losing. I mean, they always end up losing if it when it comes right down to it. But I did see a builder when I started getting out. I met this builder and went to his house, and I've seen it here in Texas a lot. Um, they're starting, which I like, but I don't like. They're starting to do all case and base, like here in Texas, and they started doing it in Oklahoma with either just ripped MDF, 3/4 inch MDF, or they're buying MDF trim. It's got, it's got a routed end on it. Some trim carpenters route it themselves if they want a little nose on it, a bull nose or something on there. But that seems to be getting really popular, which is great because it doesn't shrink. But it's not great because if it's exposed edges and it's not prepped properly, all it does is just keep sucking up paint, which most painters don't, new construction guys don't prep it correctly.
yeah, exactly. And so so when we got an opportunity, I think the trim carpenter walked off the job, and I just got thrown into it, man. And I've done it. Like I said, I worked for a trim carpenter, and I knew the process and everything. And then we started taking that on, and as time went on, we realized we could run a very efficient job site when we were in control of the trim. And if I had another guy, like I've had probably 4 or 5 employees over the past 2 years, one or two at a time. And it was nice because, if we'd get everything knocked out, we'd start prep immediately. Even while we're installing trim, we're prepping, or sanding, making sure. And like, we're also able to control the pieces that are going up, right? If a piece looks jacked up, we're not going to install it. So we don't got to go through all the extensive prep,
You throw a piece of base out there and on the floorboard it's doing this. You're like, all right, pull that one back out. I mean, that's a pretty good way to do it now that I mean, you think about it. I mean, you're become even just a slightest amount of OCD over the trim install, and it's going to make the finish schedule so much easier.
Yeah. So we started doing that, getting pretty darn efficient at it. And we were able to move through these houses pretty quick and getting good results. We still, so as we went on as trim carpenters, we started utilizing different methods like biscuit joinery for our trim. So all of our joints are tight and they're not going to separate. And because we know new construction's house settles, like, everything's going to, exactly. So we're trying to basically keep our work looking tight. And that's because the casing we get is finger jointed pine. It's complete garbage, if you ask me. It's pre-primed, and it's all 1x4. So it's just 1x4 with 1/2 inch overhang. So it's easy to install, but it's such a flat, clean surface that your prep work and your spray coating and everything has got to look good, because especially with a semi-gloss or anything on it, it's going to show anything. So if there's that finger joint that's coming through on your finish, if it's this, if it's that, there's so many, and it's a tough thing to get looking just perfect, especially with the budget we're given and the access to basically what we can do to make money, you know what I mean? And get the best finish. It's like, we've tried, throughout my 2.5 years here, we've tried about 12 different types of caulk. We've tried 15 different wood fillers, like different types of procedures. And like, we have a really good system now. And and all of it was like, let's try this. And each one just trying to just better our procedure. You know what I mean? And like balancing efficiency and quality, and like not sacrificing quality, but anything we can get to make it go faster based on the budget. So, in new construction, margins are tight. We got to do what we can with what we're given. And we tried on 3 or 4 houses last year, the Enduro system of the undercoater. I think it was the Pro Series. So we ran the Pro Series.
Yeah.
And
GF's Enduro.
Yep. And we got really good results with it, but it was way out of our budget, for what we're getting paid. Like I said, when I first started, the budget was Promar 400 semi-gloss, so we graduated. We tried, we get to, I think UTE was like our go-to for a long time. We tried ScuffX. We tried the Pro Series. That system it's tough, man. And
ScuffX is, it's interesting that it kind of, I don't know if it was painters or paint stores that tried to push ScuffX into a trim paint. I don't know where it came from, but I started seeing that trend. It's a great wall paint. It's not a cheap wall paint.
Exactly, yeah.
But it was like, when it started going on trim, and I'm like, you guys are just putting a latex paint on trim.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So the one time I used it, again, it was a circumstance where there was no power in the house. We had to get it done, and humidity was high.
Sounds normal. Sounds right up for every painter.
Yeah. So I wasn't going to spray an enamel because I knew I was going to have problems. And so that stuff does well in high humidity, and it finished really nice.
Good to know, yeah.
So it's like like I said, we tested so many different things in different scenarios. So if the conditions were right, we could run a 1K system, we could run an enamel system, it's right now we're actually doing the Coronado has a door and trim enamel, which is pretty good. It's not bad for it's pretty forgiving. It looks nice, but it's actually pretty damn durable too. I was pretty surprised.
Yeah. I mean, Coronado's got some good products. They've always had some good water-based products. I mean, they're not, it's, I've always called them, I can't remember what the Coronado that we used to use. But I mean, it's like that. I called it, to me, it was always like a bridge product. It's better than your normal architectural coatings, but it's not quite into the industrial realm. It's like stuck in the middle land. But
100%. Yeah. That's kind of where we got to be for the budget we're at. And so like I said, we dialed in that Enduro system. So now when a contractor comes to us, we could offer them an A package, a B package,
Yeah.
Because basically the market I'm in right now, it's people don't want to pay usually for it, but we're going to offer it. And, honestly, so when I started getting into this more and more, I realized the whole the procedure of stuff, started doing cabinet jobs, started using higher end coatings. We tried Evo recently. I liked Evo. There was,
you got to get that dialed in good. That stuff will run on you fast.
Tricky.
It's tricky.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at today is, we're doing a little bit more custom work. We're building custom stuff for customers, finishing them, installing them in their house, like floating shelves. We're doing stuff like that. Basically, the past few weeks, I've had an epiphany, and I'm going to be moving out of the new construction stuff and working for a designer and doing I have a designer that I've been kind of doing whatever I can for her. And I just kind of realized that I want more. You know what I mean? It's the new construction.
There's always, the remodel world, once you get into it and immersed in the remodel world, you find out that the money in the remodel world, because new construction is preset with a budget. You get into that remodel world, and depending on your designer and your customer, budgets go out the window. They want what they want, and they're willing, if you can do it, they're willing to pay for it.
Yeah. Definitely.
Well, let's grab it. Let's do a quick break. Let's refresh our drinks, and then pick up kind of what's going on right now with you here in just a few minutes.
Sure. Sounds good.
Do you want your brand in front of the people who actually move product? Painters, finishers, and manufacturers? The Bearded Finisher podcast has pulled in over 75,000 downloads and reaches across the entire finishing supply chain, from job site to manufacturing. From single episode sponsorships to social media promotion, we offer flexible options that get your brand noticed. Real reach, real results. Visit thebeardedfinisher.com and let's get your brand front and center. Are you a residential painter buried in admin, scheduling chaos, or constant material delays? Meet mypaintbuckets.com, the first dedicated project management platform built by painters for painters. It delivers turnkey workflows to simplify your day, from project sharing and material ordering to scheduling and EPO capture, so you can focus on scaling your crew and maintaining the reputation you've worked so hard to build. And if you're a supplier, painters are evolving faster, smarter, and more efficient than ever. The suppliers who thrive over the next 10 years will be the ones who build real trust. That's why we created free tools to help you keep up and stay relevant. Head to mypaintbuckets.com and see why the next generation of painters isn't looking back.
All right, back, refresh the drinks. And so, well, before the break, we were doing a little talking about, we were just about in current times of what you're doing and kind of migrating more into the remodel. So kind of just what made you, was it a specific job, or you just tired of getting burnt out on the new construction that made you want to make that? Where did that decision come from?
Yeah. So this past winter, I'm sitting right now in my shop. I built a shop in my house. So I built
Nice.
like a 30 by 40 shop, garage door in the front. I'm actually sitting in the spray room right now, gearing up to get some samples done for some metal, actually. So I've got
Awesome, Vero.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm amazed by it. It's an incredible thing. And we, so basically, yeah, recently I just like really focusing on the business side. Like the past 2 years, I've been investing into the business, buying equipment. I just bought a brand new van, and I've been so against, like, I built the shop out of my own, I didn't take a loan out, trying to, and it did hurt, you know what I mean? We built it, like I said, ground up, and it was expensive. And we just, all year it was kind of like back and forth, reinvesting, going, I just lost another employee recently, and I'm back to pretty much being alone. I got a guy from New Hampshire who's been helping me out a lot, Wayne, with Stubbs Painting, and he's helping me pick up the slack right now. We just have a lot of jobs. Like, we're doing some I would call it luxury commercial work right now. Some higher end restaurants that are remodels, and we're doing a big nursing home coming up shortly too. And the new construction. So my builder is an amazing guy, and like I said, he gave me a shot, and he gave me, a lot of opportunity, but it all comes down to scheduling, communication, and basically the time spent in the house. It ain't worth it, for me doing all the work. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, closing out a house, sometimes coming back 5-6 times just because, somebody scuffed the wall, somebody did this, somebody did that, or like, this. I mean, completely honest, the sheetrock tapers are complete and utter garbage, and all of that lands on us at the end of the house when, like, we got to fix this. We got to fix this. It's like your profits get eaten up.
Well, I mean, that's props to you for tracking it, as most guys don't realize that. I mean, they'll do it for 30 years before they realize the new construction. You just get nickel and dime to death in new construction. You have to be, and then if you do have change orders, because it's a drywall issue, then you got to get your contractor to back charge, and they never do. They're like, hey, just take care of this one and I'll get you on the next one.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And there was it's just at the end of the day, it's not worth my time. So my daughter's like 2.5 now, and the first
Okay.
9 months. Yeah. So it's incredible. Being a father is by far the most amazing thing, dude.
It's the best thing ever. I mean, and you have got a daughter. My daughter's 4.5 now. And yeah, you're screwed.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm screwed. I mean, there's something about that dad-daughter relationship that it's done. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, you turn the world upside down for him. It's the craziest thing in the world.
Yeah. And so the first like 9 months of her life, she didn't know who I was because I was never home. I was just working and like finishing up the house. And there's a resentment in me that says, now that I'm coming to realize all this stuff after doing this for so long, I'm like, and like you said, people do it for 30 years. It's like you're spinning in a hamster wheel. It's like, oh, I got paid, but it's like, where'd that money go? You know what I mean? Sometimes it's like, but once I started doing, job costing and really nickel and diamond myself and figuring out, I'm like, there's not a lot of room here. And one call says, you got to come back here and do this. Sometimes that's, you know what I mean? It just kills your bottom dollar. And I started becoming more aware of it. And like, I just got tired of it. And it was, like I said, I'm right now, I literally, it was earlier this week when I told him, and I went down to Boston. I went down and visited Colby and his shop. I got an opportunity to kind of shadow and just help out. Like I was spraying 2K solvents in a shop, primers, and I was like, this stuff's amazing. Like, where's this stuff?
Were you spraying the ICA or the Malaysia?
The ICA.
The ICA. He loves the ICA is great. He sprays a little bit of Malaysia. He's got a customer that loves Malaysia and everything that he does for that. It's a cabinet builder.
Yep.
They're always like, we buy the paint. They supply the paint. And it's always Malaysia 2K. But man, he loves ICA. And that 2K solvent's a killer product.
Dude, I've heard about it and people have told me about it, but like, and they just go, you want to spray some primer? And I was like, yeah. And one of the guys had one of those air fed masks and I put that on and they put me on with the Kremlin in there for like 2 hours, just spraying primer. And I was like, I've never been that excited in my life. I don't think. Like I was like a kid in a candy store. And like these guys, if they ever hear this, it's like, I never really, I didn't show it, but like I'm like, this is what I kind of want to be doing, and not like, obviously there's levels to this. I want to start experimenting and figuring it out, but like, they got me shooting sample boards. I shot some metal on some sample boards, basically got a kind of a metal course for free with them. And I'm actually taking a metal course in a couple of weeks here over in NYC over there. So.
Okay. Go over there with Kieran.
Yeah. Yep.
And yeah. That'll be a fun course. Dude, have you met him?
I have not, no.
Oh my gosh. So I flew up to Minneapolis. I don't know, wherever Robert is. I flew up to his place and Kieran was there and oh man, he's going to kick my ass. Guy from Miami was there and we were basically talking about metal coatings and I mean, those two guys, but Kieran, I've never spent a lot of time with just 100% solid New Yorkers. And I'm sure I was probably just as goofy as shit to him being from Oklahoma and Texas. But like the sayings and how he talked, like, dude, I loved it. I mean, just everything's so fast.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything is now and it's fast. It's like, hey, we ain't got time to bullshit. We got to let's do something. Let's do something. And I'm over here like, I need 5 minutes. I got to walk over there. I don't get in a hurry.
Yeah. No, it's definitely, yeah. I'm excited to, kind of take this new chapter and push on. And, I just got a cup gun set up and I'm going to be spraying probably tonight some primer on some cabinet doors and get ready for testing some metal and stuff. But
what kind of cup gun did you go with?
I just got a Harbor Freight for now, like the Black Widow for now. Yeah,
That
because
Black Widow's a sharp gun. I mean,
that's what everybody said. I like the guys over there. They were running Segolas, I think, and stuff like that.
yeah. I think Colby's running Segolas. He might be running an Iwata. Like my gun of choice is always the Nest Iwata. They have a product called an Air Gunza. It has a 1.8 tip in it. Not an expensive gun. I want to say like $300, but it's an all metal gun. There's no plastic bushings or anything in there. All metal. I mean, I had like 3 of those, and all they were for was primer. I mean, they just laid down primer heavy, flowed out nice, And I had a WD 400 for all the metal coatings and stuff like that. But I mean, I love cup guns. I mean, they're probably my favorite tool.
I never like. I knew there's obviously I knew of them, but I never got into it much. And like, I'm just after I got exposed to that kind of like, it's a whole different world, and I was like, I have and being the biggest thing is the builder kind of it pins you down, and the way what we were doing, with being the trim carpenters, we were playing a huge role. Like we were completely finishing these houses for him, and just primed out my last one. Finished it this morning. I was there till at 10 o'clock last night finishing it, and like or getting the first coats done and getting everything whatever done. And the biggest thing also with the thing is like getting the house. So it's a Friday. Oh, house is ready. Floor's going in Monday. You have to work the weekend. And that was my thing. It's like you're putting me on a time constraint all the time, and the pressure gets to me, man. I'm a human, and especially this week, it's like we got all these different jobs landed all at once. And I was saying this for people for a while that I talked to on Instagram and stuff. It's like it's gonna hit the fan. It's gonna hit the fan. And like I said, I lost a guy this week. He's just not answering the phone, and now it hit the fan.
You said it was going to, yeah. Well, I mean, like I tell guys, and I preach this to people that I'm coaching, even here on the podcast. So everyone, I feel like my father-in-law, he mentored me very well to just understand and realize that this industry, specifically painting, it's service. You're selling hours. Yes, your skill set develops your rate. Is what you've done over the years that increases your rate, but you are selling hours. And unless you want to work like a dog, especially if you want to grow and hire employees and get out from working behind the brush and behind the business and work instead of in it, you're working on it. You have to have that realization that our industry is you're selling hours. That's it. And legally, an employee is going to fart off a week a year. So you got 2,000 hours. You just keep it simple. You got 2,000 hours per employee to sell. That's it. That's not that many hours. So you've got 2 options. Either you have a lot of hours by having 20 guys, or you seek out the biggest, best dollar projects for the hours that you got.
Yeah,
and that's
100%.
it. I mean, it's not difficult. I mean, that's what I tell guys. It's not hard. You're 2,000 hours, whatever you want to make, you got to figure all that into there. And that's where your rate is. Whatever your expenses are, that's what, and then what you want to make, taxes, there's your rate. 65, 75, 85, that don't matter, but it doesn't matter how many employees you have. You want to increase your revenue. If your rate's $75 an hour, it doesn't matter if they're a leader or if they're a helper. It's the same rate. But think about it. If you're doing $75 an hour, I mean, you got 2,000 hours to sell. I mean, you're probably in the negative bank doing new construction with all the callbacks.
Exactly.
I mean, exactly. You just can't do it. And what's interesting to me is, when I sold my company, I was telling builders, when they would call and be like, hey, it's a custom new construction, custom build, it'd be 4 or 5,000 square foot or 3,500 square foot. And I'll be like, just plain Jane satin, flat walls and ceilings, same color, one primer, two top, starts $5.50 to $6 a square foot. That's no crown. That's just case and base and doors. Like, and that would run most of them all out the door at that point. Cause I mean, I still know guys that are doing new construction for like $1.95 a foot. And I don't understand how they're making money. I mean, they're not. There's just no way. You can barely even buy materials.
Yeah, it's about $1.50 a square or something with material. So, yeah.
But I mean, it doesn't even matter how much you're buying. They're not going to give you that much of a discount because the paint stores keep jacking up their prices every year. So I'm like, but there's still guys out there doing $1.75, and it's like disappointing because you'll have a guy. I knew a paint company, and he had like 22 guys, and they were doing all new construction, and it was $225 a foot. And he comes to me and he's like, Zach, I'm not making any money. I'm like, raise your damn prices. You can't do it. He's like, I don't know if the builder will pay it. He will if no one will do it for $225. Go to $450 and just don't budge, because then when no painter shows up and he's got 10 houses going, he'll pay.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, eventually he's going to pay, but there's always one of those guys that works for him that goes behind him. I'll do it.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just saying this earlier today, is like the insurance you have to carry and all the logistics you have to have as a legitimate business to even enter this home. And you're going to say $3 a square foot is too much. It's like, it doesn't. So where we're at is like, pricing was always an issue. I mean, upcharges were always an issue. And we're going to be, like I said, moving on. And we have some other more like custom home builders that really only do one or two a year that I'm going to be I may be pursuing. I've been talking to them here and there, but it's right now we're trying to just weather the storm and get everything done. And like I keep saying to people, I'm hitting a reset button.
Well, it's like, so there's a book out there, and it's by, it's a great book to read. If you're a reader, it's on Audible, because I love Audible books. And it's called 10X is Easier Than 2X. It's by a guy named Benjamin Hardy. And the theories behind it, and it's a lot of what you're doing, and some of the principles around it are phenomenal. But he goes into this book and he's talking about how growing a business 10X is way easier than trying to double your business, than 2X your business, because your business has a certain amount, and 80% of your business, and then the 20%. That's normal. So like 80% of your business is new construction, 20% is remodel. But that 20% is where the profit is. So if you hit the reset button and turn that 20 into the 80, you're going to grow your business 10X a lot faster. And then what you're going to find out, and I would bet $1,000 in probably less than 3 years, you're going to flip that, and you're going to take that way, the 20% now where you see the money, that's going to become your 80. And then you're going to find a new 20. What's that new 20? And then I'm going to flip it again. I'm going to do another reset. I'm going to make that 20 now my 80. And then that 20% profit margin turns into the 80. And you're going to do it again. Like, if you just keep that mental thought, like, what's next? Once you start doing the remodels, okay, in this remodel realm, where's all the money? Is it cabinets? Is it metal? Is it concrete? Is it like, garage floors? Whatever it is, that's the new 20. And then you focus on that like a vigilant. And I mean, it's crazy how people, and this book, the Audible version, they have tons of stories. I mean, the whole book is talking about businesses that have done it and what the business did and how they did it. Great book, but how they just keep repeating this process. And you're talking a guy that left a job where he was making $100,000 a year working for a company, and now has a company that's worth like 100 million. And he did it in 10 years because he just kept, every 2 years, he would refocus on the 20%.
That's like kind of exactly how my business is right now. It's like 80% this, 20% that, all the money's in the 20. And that's exactly what we're trying to do is, I think I was talking to the New Doors guy over at the Pretty Boy Paint Festival last
Chris.
before. Yeah, Chris. And he was saying they do the same every 2 years. He seems to like switch his business, switch it up. And I'm like, it's funny because I was talking to him the same thing. I was just like, yeah, I'm hitting the reset button and we're going to pursue things that basically, so my biggest thing is, like you said, there's 40 hours in a week. I've worked 80 to 90 to up to 100 the past 2.5 years. And to make what that 20% could provide me in 40 or less. And I know that, like, now the apron
Awesome.
is lifted, and I realize what I can do to maximize my time. And it's not even about making money, really. It's about, I want to spend time with my family. I want to be with my daughter. I want to be with my wife. I want to be present. I want to be able to take vacations, like, and go do things that, like, and when it just feels like you're pinned down, you know what I mean? And that's what I've been doing. And I think, the sky's the limit. And if I just keep pushing in the way I have been, I think whatever I feel like I want to do, I can do in reality. Like, it's just, like I said, I get obsessed, man. And I want to focus on the things that I really want to do. And where I'm at now it was a good run. And that's what I keep saying to people. And I hope the break goes smooth, but where we're at now is we want to focus on things that bring joy. It's like, don't get me wrong. I love the new construction. I love the process, and I would not change anything that happened over the past 2 years. Like, I got a lot of reps in. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, but you need that. That's the important thing that a lot of guys that want to, I don't want to say about jump the line, but they want to get into that world, is you got to do that time, because you're going to learn a lot and you're going to mess up, and that's okay. Like, that, the learning comes from mess ups. The learning comes from failures, but that's what gives you the ability. But to get to that point where you're like, all right, I've done what I can do. I see this over here. I'm not ignoring you. Let's go. I want to make that switch. I want to let go of that 80% of business and just focus on the 20. I mean, it's what makes me excited is, like, I talk about this all the time. I feel like when I'm doing consults to coaching painters to grow their business, like, this is what I'm preaching to these guys. And, what do you want? You know what you want. You want family time. You want vacation. You want to live your life. I mean, there's a lot of guys that have no idea what they want. So, like, it just makes me ecstatic that guys are the guys are getting it, that you get it, that you're executing it. That's freaking awesome, man.
Yeah, it's been like, my wife and I talked about it all the time. It's like, when are you going to get, and then where we're at now is like, it's just, like I said, it's time, and I'm excited, man. I'm extremely motivated and excited to just push on and try all these things. And, like, I've worked very hard over the past couple of years and accumulated a lot of things for the business, and we're ready to, like, really start to build the business the way that I want to build it, and not under the constraints of other people, because, like, that's the truth, is like we're constrained, and it's really limiting. I've turned down a lot of work that could have been, like, very good potentials for other things, and based on the new construction. And I've also taken that work on and worked through the night, like, I'm a crazy person, man. I'll work all night. If I got to do it, I'll do it, you
Yeah.
know?
I used to always crack up when I started, when I had my company, I had 2 days a week. That was my estimate days. I would check on the crews, but only once. Typically, I would check on all my crews twice a day. But I only did estimates on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I had a 3-hour block in the morning and a 3-hour block in the afternoon. So when all my estimates, I wouldn't do an estimate outside of that. But how many times people are like, oh, can you come at like 7 o'clock? I'm like, I don't do estimates after 3. And they'd be like, what do you mean? You're a painter. And I'll be like, do you go to your dentist after 4 o'clock? Do you ask your dentist to come to your house at 7? Well, no, but you're a painter. No, I'm a business owner. Like, I mean, to get, it's not a knock on contractors or homeowners. I don't want it to come across like that, but the more we treat our profession, like you're not calling a AC guy to come out and do an estimate at 7 o'clock. They don't do estimates at 7. And you're going to pay twice as much for it. But the sooner and the more guys like yourself that are, hey, this is my profession. This is how I create a life for myself and my family. And I'm going to treat it that way. I'm going to price it that way. The more we start elevating this trade that we're in to be, I mean, for lack of a better word, just to be a well-respected trade and not thought of as, alcoholic Jim over here who can't hold down a job, so he becomes a painter.
Right. Yeah.
That's huge to me. I mean, I think that's important, and that's awesome seeing guys like you doing that. Congrats on that, man. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. And it's, that's the thing is when I started getting the new construction, I'm like, new construction is it's a broken industry in my eyes, like from quality to everything. And my mission was, I'm going to change that. And I feel like I tried, like I said, I still think like with the budgets and everything we're doing the best work we possibly can. And like, we're like I said, multiple stage of filling for wood fillers. We're sanding our pre-prime like 3 different stages from 180 to 320, buffing in between.
That's insane for new construction.
Yeah.
Dude.
And I just, like I said, it's way overkill. I was just talking to the AC guy yesterday. He goes, I told him I'm leaving. I probably won't see you ever again, whatever. And he's like, why? And we started talking. He's like, I've never seen anybody do what you do. And I'm like, that's not me bragging. It's just like I wanted better. And even at the time, it's like, I'll sacrifice cost and making money just so this is my work. You know what I mean? But in reality, they don't care about, nobody cares, man. Like that's the sad reality is like, they'll walk in and be like, oh, there's a mark on the wall. They never say, wow, this trim is so smooth. It looks so beautiful. It's, oh no, there's 5 scuff marks from other trades in the house. You got to go fix that. It's never, let me shake your hand. You did a great job today. It's like when I go into a customer's house and I do some custom work for them, or like this floating shelf job I did, I bought all the raw poplar. We stained it. I cleared it. I finished it. I installed it in their house. The lady gave me a hug. It's like, you don't get that and I'm not saying I don't.
You don't.
But it's like,
well, I mean, it's the old adage, you catch more flies with, catch more bees with honey than you do with shit. I mean, people like to be told they're doing a good job.
That's
like,
it.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah.
At some point, you just get to I just can't take it. I mean, I completely get that. And I would agree. Like the new construction across the board is it's a broken industry. Like it needs to be flipped over. I'm not sure how to do it. I mean, it would be great if someone would come in and flip that industry upside down. Yeah, man. Like my buddy who owns this company, Chris, he owns My Paint Buckets. And it's a program management software designed for new construction and to get the contractors in to do change orders and scheduling, trying to bring it up. Like, he's fighting the good fight, and he grew up, and he has he has a new construction painting company too. But, it's like he's saying, it's some days you're just about 3 seconds away from putting your head through a wall.
It's the sad truth, man. Especially as painters, it's like it's one of the hardest jobs there, and it is what it is. And it's just I feel like, so I'm 28 years old, and I'm figuring life out still. You know what I mean? And everything's very new, and like we're just where we're at now is I'm in a good spot. I'm happy about it, and we just, like I said, we'll make it through. Hopefully, not burn a bridge. That's my whole thing right now. I just don't want to burn any bridges, man.
One of my podcasts I really like is this guy named Clinton Anderson, and he talks about that a lot. He's like, he said, twice in my life have I walked across a bridge and just on the way across it thought, I'm going to burn this mother effer down. Never will I ever need this guy. And he goes, and every time I've done it, I've needed that son of a bitch and went, damn it. And he's like, when he's younger, he's like, now that I'm older, I learned you just don't burn bridges because you never know when you're going to need to go across it. And chances are, if you burn it, there's like 110% chance you're going to have to cross it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's my thing right now. It's like we're trying to make all these people happy, and and we're trying to get rid of some, and it's hard. And
yeah, it's hard. But once you have that, what is the word I'm looking for? Once you have the figure out, not necessarily how to say no, but essentially, once you say your first no to someone, hey, I'm just not the right guy for you, and it doesn't go horribly. I mean, from experience, I can tell you, it gets a lot easier to say no to people to find the right stuff. And it's this weird, if you're a religious guy, call it God, call it the universe, whatever you want to call it. That's up to you. But it's like this weird deal. If you say no to the stuff that is not going to make you happy or is not right for you, it's like this weird, and the right stuff just pops along. Because then you're like, oh, I shouldn't have said no to that. And then like in 48 hours, you're like, oh crap, this is what I want.
Yeah.
And you don't have to tell the guy, oh, I can't because I'm already doing this. You're there. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, 100%. There's levels to that for me too, like the saying no thing. I mean, I've gotten some calls, and it's like, but a lot of things are like apartment turnovers. People who reach out, and I'm like, yeah, what is it? Apartment. Like, first early on, I was like, sure, I'll check it out. And can you do this for $800? And it's like, wait, what? Like, no, like,
I'm not even unloading my truck for $800.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, well, the guys, and again, there's levels to everything. I don't think anybody should be doing that for $800, but there are people that will, but I think it's all circumstantial. And that's why I told the lady, I'm just like, respectfully no. And I appreciate, you reaching out and however you got a hold of me, whatever. But it's like that nowadays there's just too many opportunities out there to like, even it's saying no for me is like hard. Cause I'll be like, yeah, I can get to that. And then I'm like, go down my list. I'm like, yeah, in 4 months.
That's where the connections comes in really nice. I mean, like, knowing all the other painters in the area, like I would always have a couple painters that I know is like a one-man show. And, I would check with him, cause he's looking for work, painters, when you get to that, you get there and painters be like, hey, you have any extra work? And then you build your brand, an MF Paint brand, by saying, ma'am, I can't, but here, call Hank over here. That's something I think he could do a good job for you and be able to be in your budget and your timeline. because I know he's needing some work right now. And then you text him, hey, this lady's calling you. She wants work. Go get it. Well, that guy's like, oh man, this guy's awesome. And then that customer is going to remember it, whether it's her own personal painting at her house or maybe another project or a whole apartment complex where she's like, oh, maybe this will entice them, And I used to do that a lot when I couldn't do it. I would send it to someone I know that could or something like that. And I think that is one of the best brand building, techniques that you can use, because it subconsciously is like, oh man, this guy's awesome. He just gave me another painter. He didn't, try to keep it all to himself. He's making sure that I'm taken care of. I need to get this guy in my house.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there's probably 3 or 4 different guys we stay connected regularly. I mean, Instagram's been huge, man. Like,
oh,
I mean,
yes,
right now it's just like the community and the people I talk to on the daily. It's great, and we bounce stuff off. Again, a lot of these people aided in my decision to do what I'm doing. Like, they helped me get the confidence to be like, this, do this, you're thinking about doing it, just do it. Or like I bought a brand new Sprinter van probably a month ago. And I was that same truck that I bought when I was plowing snow that I still got out in the yard here. It's like, I was driving that and, I never wanted to take loans out for anything. I was like, I'm paying everything up front. And, I realized the benefits to utilizing a vehicle loan for the business write-offs and all the financials behind that. It's actually a huge benefit. And like,
yeah, I mean, it can be a huge benefit. That one's an interesting game. I mean, like my father-in-law was very much just pay cash for it. So in the lean times, you don't have to worry about loan payments. And then there's the tax write-off. So it's like I see the positives and the negatives to it. I've been on both sides of that, when you get lean or, shit gets weird. So, but yeah, I mean, there is some huge benefits, man. And what I think, to me, the most impressive and part of that is your business. You're running it as a business, and you have the ability to go out and buy a truck, a new Sprinter van that gives you that professional image. That that I don't want to say gives you. You have the image, but it's another tool in the belt to say, hey, I'm not run of the mill candy van painter trying to make it by. This is my career. This is a business that I'm running that way. And I think people notice that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I think it's like, for me, it was just like getting over that fear, of like, it was a fear, you know what I mean? It ain't cheap, I mean, I wanted to, and I was going to buy it outright. Like, I was like, I'm just going to buy it, pay cash for it, but I'm like, why? That's a lot of money. I was like, and it was like, I was talking to the guy, I was just talking to a lot of people, and they're like, why not? You never, it's a good chance. And for me, it's motivation too. It's like,
yeah,
even if
it drives you,
it does. And for me, it's also way more fuel efficient than my truck. Like, I mean, the thing is 25 miles to the gallon, man. It's diesel. I got 9 with my truck, so it's,
yeah. I mean, I drive a 3,500 Ram dually. So yeah, I mean, if I'm getting 15 on the highway with zip behind me, that's good.
Yeah, exactly. I used to tow a 14-foot trailer too with all my equipment and all over the place, and it's just like that, I had to, and that's my old man. That's that mentality. He's been a DBA business owner his whole life, never took a loan out for nothing. Old school. He's still got a flip phone. This, my old man's just to the bone. He don't text. He don't use a computer. He doesn't advertise. He just returns all word of mouth. And it's just like, that was the old thing. And it was like, my mother came up to me and was like, I'm so proud of you for buying a new van. I'm like, that's weird. Like, and I'm like, I didn't think of it like that. You know what I mean? And she's like, she's like, we've been telling your father for years, just do it. It's a great business thing to do. And I'm like, yeah. And it was just like, it was super, it was humbling experience because I feel like I'm really just becoming my own person now and like really trying to take control of my business. And it's weird that it came through in a brand new van, but that all these things kind of came up all in the last month.
I mean, it's like I was saying earlier, you put the vision out there and you know what you want and you go after it. You line things up and then you don't know subconsciously, because you have the goal in your mind and you're subconsciously lining these things up. And then you don't realize that you're lining these things up until somebody comes and hits one and everything just starts falling perfectly into place. And you're like, how the hell did I do that?
Yeah.
How did this all just line up like this? But it's the human mind is, to me, just amazing at how you know what you want. And then by knowing what you want and having a goal, you just start doing stuff that you normally probably wouldn't have done if you didn't have that goal.
Right.
And then the stuff that you want to happen just starts happening. And you're like, holy crap.
Yeah. And as like time goes on, you just I don't know if it's like being more mature, or like just more experience in life. You just realize like what's the best way to go about things, but also like what's the best next move, like I love, like, we're going into a restaurant project. The scope of work changed tenfold. Like everything changed. I walked in there. I was freaking out. I was like, whoa, like 16-foot high ceilings. We got nickel gap everywhere. It's all got to get sprayed. There's stain next to spray. It's like none of this was on. And I'm like, okay, how are we going to tackle this? First off, let's figure out payment. Like we got to figure out, okay, this was not scoped. Like we're going to, figure that out. And then, we're going to go in there this week and tackle it. And I got, Wayne, another painter here who's phenomenal. He's experienced painter, experienced business owner. He's been through a lot of ups and downs, and Brian's been staying here in the shop, but he's staying in here too. And we're all like, just going to tackle the job. And I love that. Just like going in, how are we going to tackle this?
That's awesome. So is Brian flying back to New York?
Yeah.
He's staying with you?
Yeah. He's been here, I think, since June. Or was it? Yeah, June.
Yeah, since he got back from wherever he was over in England or Europe or wherever that was.
Yep. And he's so I think he's coming back Monday. I think he got his flight got delayed or something. And then he'll be here, I think, another week, and then I think he's heading out west. So
that man is a traveling nut,
dude. It's incredible.
It's crazy, man. It is crazy. I was talking to him at the show at AWFS, and I was just like, dude, you've got to slow down. And especially, like, the guy goes 90 miles an hour. He doesn't stop. I love him, but he doesn't stop. Like, we were walking. I was going to a meeting, like the video that we shot.
Yeah.
And we were walking. I was like, God dang, dude. One, I'm not as tall as you, but slow the flip down.
Yeah.
We don't walk that fast in Texas.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a New Yorker. Those New Yorkers, man.
I might have to keep up a light jog to keep up with you. Then I'm not going to be able to talk. So we got to walk slow or just stop.
Yeah. He's been great, though. He's such a positive guy. And, like, man, it's, like, very good. He keeps me even keel. You know what I mean? Because
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely very it's been nice having him here this summer. And, I'm looking. It's been good. So.
That's awesome. Well, I don't want to keep too much longer. I know it's nighttime. I want you to go hang out with the family a little bit and, maybe do bath time or something, Yeah,
I'm actually, I might be shooting some lacquer.
Oh, I got to shoot. Yeah, the work never stops.
Yeah, we'll see.
But, man, I appreciate you coming on the show. Two last questions. You've seen every episode. You were telling me you've seen them. So, I'm expecting some good ones here. So first one, 28-year-old Matt runs into 19-year-old Matt at lunch what's advice you're going to give him?
Wow. I thought about this question too, because I heard it a lot of the podcasts. I think like 19-year-old Matt, I would say drop out of college, honestly. I
It's
was
fair.
spinning my wheels in college. Nothing was going right. I think my end goal of being a recovering alcoholic and drug addict would have been there anyway. So like, and go work for dad, start this process a little earlier.
Yeah, college is not. I mean, I did college. I didn't finish, but I went and I realized it just wasn't for me. And it's not for everybody. I mean,
I was so wrapped in it, and like I did pretty well in college. I was going to get my graduate degree, and I'm so glad I didn't. But those 4 years were, luckily, I worked in college and I paid. I don't have any student loans, so I was in a very cheap school. It was like very cheap compared to anywhere you talk about, anybody else talks about, like 50, 60 grand a year. But so yeah, that's probably what I'd say to them. And be easy on yourself, because
I like that. That's good.
yeah, be kind, because I still struggle with that to this day, so
I saw this video and it never rang more true than where I'm at in my life at 42. We're getting ready. We've been moving around, living on our bus, traveling with my wife's work, and it's been great. We've had a blast, met some cool people, lived some awesome places, allowed us to have a lot of freedom. But we're getting ready to move to Colorado. I haven't really said much, but we're in December, we're moving to Durango, Colorado to be close to family and put down some roots and probably buy some land. And I saw this video that was like, I can't even remember how he started it, but this guy, he's talking, he's like, I tell people everything up to 40 is research. 40 is when it starts, is when your life really starts. If you look at life, that everybody in their 20s and their 30s, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. He's like, doesn't matter. It's just research. It's just research. You go with that. And I look back when I was 30, said 40, mid 30s and 20s. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do, and now I'm like, I'm 42 and I'm like, all right, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, holy crap. Like, I mean, we know what we want. There's no, let's try this. Let's try this. We know what we want. We know what we want for our kids. We know what we want for our life. We know, we have a 5-year, 10-year goal. And this is all just in the last couple of years that we've come up with all this. So I'm like, holy crap, this guy's onto something. Like, it's all research until you're 40. And then you're like, it's like something clicks and you're just like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
It's nuts. It's nuts. And then finally, like, what doesn't sound like there's much outside of painting, but what do you like to do that's not paint related? when you get, an hour a month or two?
Yeah. I think I golf a little bit.
Nice.
I don't golf as much as I'd like to, but the only time I've been able to golf is my brother golfs a lot, and he's like 5 a.m. tee times on a Sunday before work. And but I think the biggest thing is just being there with my daughter, but like being present. There's like, you know what I mean? Like, for me, it's like being around my daughter during the week is like, it's so hard for me to just be there with her and like actually be focusing on my experience with her. But like that's so, like, I've been very conscious about it recently, is like, leave the work in the van, leave the work try to leave it at work, while she's awake, her waking hours, just be her dad. That's it.
Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
It's not easy, but that's exactly, and that's honestly, it's like all I want in life is to be like, there's a thing by Dana White and it says like, what do you want your legacy to be? I just want to be a good dad. And like, if I can put food on the table and just be a good dad, that's all I want,
Yeah. And I mean, that's a huge one. And I love that. I mean, because, I've had offers to get back in the business, manufacturing or whatnot. And this year, building this podcast, I shoot the episodes while the kids are at school or in the evening after it's time for them to do showers and relax and stuff. And I try my best to say it's not perfect. Don't answer Facebook or Instagram, or don't even look at them when the kids are awake. Yeah, you want to do some stuff as kids go to bed, that's fine. Or while they're at school. But this past year of building this podcast, I haven't had a full-time job, started some businesses that are going good, but not having like a full-fledged business. Everything that I've been working on is, I don't want to call it side hustle, but passive income, not daily managed. And it's probably, best year of my life. Yeah. We didn't do any summer school this year, or like summer programs or kids camps. We didn't do any of that this summer. Every year we've done something or had a nanny when we both worked in the corporate world, but they stayed home with me all summer long. My wife still works in the corporate world, but I kept them all summer long. And, there's times I wanted to, throw them out of a moving vehicle. Obviously they're 8 and 4, but it's probably been one of the best summers. We've had a blast.
That's awesome.
Congrats. That's all I can say is just keep going for it, man. It's never going to be perfect, but you won't regret one bit of it with the kids first. And there's nothing that as long as you're putting food on the table and you're taking care of your family, your daughter's 2, right? There's not one thing that you can do now that you can't do in 16 years. Not one. And honestly, realistically, it's not going to, if you do it now or do it in 16 years when they're 18, the outcome's likely to be the exact same.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's crazy is 16 years is going to be like, boom, you're going to be like, my son just turned 8. And I'm like, you were just born.
Yeah. Yep.
And in 10 years, you're gone. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Dude, 3 years ago, I had a full head of hair, and
I don't know if mine was full 3 years ago, but
it happens. Life happens, and it's been great. But yeah, that's really, the only thing I want in life is that, and
that's awesome.
Keep the wife happy. That's a whole nother topic of discussion, but that's all I want in life, and that's it, man.
Well, what's funny is I came back the other night, and then I'll let you go, but we got back in late last night, and my daughter, she's like me. She's a straight up daddy's girl, 100%. And she can stay up late like I can. Like, if you don't make her go to sleep, she will stay up till midnight. Like, you have to make sure there's nothing on. She has her like music, and you're going to have to get on to her because she'll play in her bed until you make her go to sleep. And she waited up, and I got home, and I get there and give my wife a kiss and, missed you guys. And, I'm hugging her, and she's hugging me and just kind of laying her head on my shoulder. And she's like, fine, go see your daughter. Okay. Like, I love my wife, but she understands it. Like, she's like, I get it. I'll be number 2 for right now, but I go back to number 1 when she graduates and is out of the house.
Yep. 100%. Yeah. And it's amazing. I hope we have another one soon, but we'll see how it goes.
Do it. Just do it.
Exactly.
I'll say that to 2. It's not double the work. It's like quadruple the work when you have 2, but I think 2's worth it. Now beyond 2, I've had many, it's 50-50 from 1 to 2. Most people say have 2.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I know of one parent that went from 2 to 3 or 2 to 4 that would ever say, yes, that was a wonderful idea.
Yeah. My parents
most of them will say 2, not anymore.
Yeah. I think my parents said 4 and 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how they did it, but I loved it because we were all pretty close growing up and stuff, but like after becoming a parent, you're like, whoa. Like,
Like, what the hell was wrong with you?
Yeah. Nowadays, it's just a flex. Like, that's crazy. I don't know.
I mean, beyond the whole just having the energy to raise kids that close together, it's just so expensive.
Yeah, it's exactly it. Yeah. It's so
It's
expensive.
just nonstop money flying out the door. You're like, we just bought those shoes.
Yeah. I was just talking to a guy, he's a cabinet manufacturer, and he was saying, all around, I'm having my 6th kid or whatever. I'm like,
Oh,
okay. I'm like, wow, good for you. You must be doing well. That's all I say.
yeah. That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I don't want to keep you. Go, get that painting done so you can go see that little girl. Matt, awesome talk. I mean, killer story. Congrats on making that progression and just, generally killing it at business, man. You're checking all the boxes and doing everything. That's awesome. Congratulations on that.
Thanks, man. Yeah, hopefully we'll meet in person. Maybe Atlanta next year. That's the goal. So.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, meet in Atlanta. I've been as far as PA from Philly, and I just figure anything north of that is just, they're just not ready for me.
Yeah, I don't blame you, dude. It's pretty nasty up here. I don't. It's nasty. It's not a great. The weather-wise, I'm used to it, but man, it's nasty in the summer. And it's nasty in the winter. That's for sure.
You got about 60 days where it's decent.
Yeah, like end of September to November, it's like perfect, and then that's it. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, again, thank you for coming on the show. If you guys aren't following Matt, he puts out some really cool stuff. I'll put all the links down there below so you guys go check him out online. Again, subscribe. Make sure you guys subscribing. That really helps me out. Gets everything out there, lets everybody see what we're doing and how we're trying to change this industry. And you guys have a good week, and we'll see you next time. Later, brother.
And that's a wrap on this episode of the Bearded Finisher Podcast. We thank everyone for joining. Keep hustling, keep learning, and never settle for anything less than your best. Remember, the path to perfection is a journey, not a destination. Until next time.